What are we waiting for, indeed?
I hear there's trouble in Rosario. That room's as ragged as...
So Mather's all right. Yep.
Oh, okay. Let's come here first.
Clive!
Ah, view the Alliance
Quick look.
report. Oh, okay.
Oh, Clive! Welcome to the Patron's Whisper.
The Patron's Whisper? Does that mean someone else is taking care of our friend's donations?
Oh no, that's still me. It's just Karen has her toll, Blackthorn has his hammer. I thought a new name might liven things up. I still catalogue every item that arrives, in addition to setting aside those tokens of appreciation the sender has specified are to be presented to you personally. Would you like to see if we have any? Your benefactors are a generous lot.
Ah. Talk of the tea house. Oh, let's go. 400 ability points.
Here you are. All yours.
Berserker ring. Okay.
All done?
Let's go. We now. Oh. Oh, yeah, we do. I thought that was like 1800. We now have Flames of Rebirth. Which, go back to gear. Clive, there you are, Kupo. I've been looking all over for you.
What's the matter, Nectar?
The matter is this, Kupo.
The hunt board? It's where the Cursebreakers post sightings of particularly fearsome beasts. Those that might pose a threat to our operations if they were left to roam free.
That
Just because
Moogle
they
is
can't
just...
be dealt with when they're spotted, doesn't mean they can't be dealt with later.
Just want to, cuddle with it.
That what you wanted to know?
Of course not, Kupo. I knew that. I knew all of that already. And that's why I need your help, as I need not remind you, Koopa, I'm the mightiest of the Moogles, no friend of the fort. And I can't read that fast. At least read out loud fast.
Right. Well, leaving your mightiness aside for the moment, the people of Valisthea are going through a lot already. What with the Blight and the war. The last thing they need is ungodly fiends terrorizing them on top of everything else. So if the Cursebreakers are too busy to help, then perhaps I can. Or at least I can try.
It's good to have someone who understands me. The hunt board. Reports of fiends terrorizing the countryside are posted to the hunt board in hopes that fearless heroes such as Clive will take upon themselves to hunt down and slay the notorious marks. So, we saw that the mark rank C was the airman. And then Angel of Death. This is a C, but there's no picture. A trader coming by the way of Norvent met with a troop of curse breakers traveling in the opposite direction and warned them of a wicked winged harpy on the road ahead. His eyes wild and flickering, though the curse breakers saw nothing untoward on their own journey through their pass. The sound of cackling laughter from the trees ensured that they kept up at a brisk pace. Oh, Belfort. Oh, that's a B rank. Okay. So, okay, so we can't, like... Okay, so this one... Clairview, Sandbrack. I might actually have to go and... Oh, no, I can't. Not yet. Because I gotta continue the main scenario. And then this one's Rosaria. Okay.
That broom's as ragged as a goat.
Finish with that lot.
Damn blighted bilge.
Is everything all right?
Aside from the holes in my hull, everything's roses.
The lake water doesn't agree with it then?
That's one way of putting it. And unless you got some grand scheme to suck the black from the lake like we do in the atrium, that slurry will keep eating away at the timber like young Tech does our lemon tarts. Suppose a coat of pitch might stave off the rot for a moon or so, assuming we had any pitch, which we don't. Not any bloody more. Doubt the old tub's got more than a dozen runs left in him.
Of course, Obolus. Your skiff is our only means of reaching the mainland. Without it, we'd be lost.
Well, I'm glad someone round here sees it that way. To make pitch, you need pitch trees. But in case you haven't noticed, live trees are one of the 1,000 things sorely lacking in the Deadlands. Now, I'm not so unkind as to ask you to fell a faraway forest and lug the logs back here to the mere, which is why we'll be needing a suitable alternative. And it just so happens I once heard the thorny pitchers of Curltail Falls cover themselves in a sticky wax to trap birds and beetles and whatnot. Might be enough to tide me over.
Sounds easier than felling a faraway forest. That's for certain.
Alright. I won't prioritize that quest because I can't really actually do it just yet. Because I can't go to that area. Because if you look at the main map, like this is where the side quest is, but I'm not allowed to go there yet. So we'll continue on to the main scenario.
Do you think it was wise to leave, Gav? He didn't seem pleased.
I needed his eyes and nose in Dhalmekia. I'm not about to let Kupka take us unawares. Besides, he has a knack for that sort of thing.
That he does.
And wasn't it Sid who said that matters such as these are best left to dominance? Especially should one of his beloved opportunities to grow and change present itself.
I always knew that I would return one day. Return to Ironhome.
For what?
After learning the truth, you were given the chance to face your past. If I am to continue at your side, I must do the same.
We will face it together then.
To the end.
Come on.
Bloodlines.
How far do you think your mother's reach extends? Will we find the same tragedy in the south as we did at Martha's Rest?
More than likely. Which is why we should hurry. There are still many settlements between here and Port Isolde. We visit as many as we can and hear their stories. Starting with the village of Amber.
Alright, let me do journal.
Mockery of justice is what it is. Lord Elwyn would never have stood for this.
Quiet, you! I think we're loyalists.
Jill, look.
Rosaria must be cleansed of the stain which befouls her, that she might rise once again from the ashes to welcome a new dawn. 'Twould be a pity to make examples of you all, for the transgressions of but a handful.
Of course, your lordship. You shall have our full cooperation.
What business could the Black Shields have in a village this small? There's barely room to hide a bearer.
Then they must be here for something else.
You fancy dancing a gallows jig like the miller's son?
All right, I heard you the first time.
I ain't got much, but what's mine is yours, for a price.
Ah. Increases limit break generation by 6% when taking damage.
Much obliged. Fare you well?
Okay, so that must be broken. Because that's basically prioritizing, so I'm unprioritizing. And yet it doesn't save. So that's a bug.
Excuse me, but what was all that about earlier?
You haven't heard? Someone's been stirring up trouble. There have been attacks on the garrison, supplies stolen. They even say a Black Shield was murdered. The Empire wants answers, and what the Empire wants, the Empire gets.
Don't they just?
Keep your ears open, eh? The Black Shields will pay good coin for information on the culprits. You'd have to be dull as a sack of stones to think you could take on the Empire. What with their 100 full legions?
100? I heard it were 1,000.
We're going hunting for outlaws. How do you like that, boy?
You seen him, didn't you?
I'm sorry.
The Black Shields. Just now. You seen them, didn't you? At least I think there was a Black Shields. Can't say I ever saw one before.
Was this the first time they visited the village?
What do you think? Amber's the arse end of nowhere. And they thought we might be harboring firebrands. Huh. If only we were. I might have turned them in and become a Black Shield myself.
You don't think these firebrands the Empire is looking for could be us, do you?
I don't know. But we need to find out.
That's interesting. Alright, so I'm in...
Word is, Port Isolde's closed their gates to all but the High Road, and now... What did those knights want, Father?
Yeah, I was like trying to figure out where it was.
Greetings, friend. We are travelers.
I know that. What do you want?
We couldn't help noticing those Imperial soldiers who were here earlier.
Don't you go telling these strangers a thing. I speak for the people of this village, and we have nothing more to say to you. You are to leave Amber and never come back.
May I at least ask why?
I don't know who you are or what brings you here, but your presence puts us all in grave danger. The Empire is a harsh master. Its demands are great, and its justice swift. But as long as we keep our heads down and pay our tributes, we are left alone. Some might call it submission. But if it will spare my people the Viceroy's wrath, then I will gladly submit. This village will not become another East Pool.
Then we shall be on our way. These people live with a knife to their throats. In the mistaken belief that if they cooperate, my mother will show them mercy.
Obedience bought with fear.
Are you all right?
Sorry, It's nothing. We still don't know who the Black Shields are looking for.
Well, whoever they are, the Imperials deem them worth pursuing to the back of beyond. But other than Martha, who else in Rosari would have the courage to stand against the Empire? A new ally would certainly be welcome. Can we find them before the Imperials do? Perhaps the next village will yield more answers.
Perhaps.
Good girl.
so won't be able to go that way, so I'm actually gonna have to go this route. Okay. Wait, can I? Or do I automatically dismount?
That'll do, girl.
Okay, so I do automatically dismount.
Ready, go? Run like the wind. Back to the stables, girl.
Okay. Checking to see whether or not I can go around, but I can't. It's still seen as a town, so I am gonna have to go this way.
This pass will take us through the mountains.
And directly into the path of whoever or whatever lurks here.
Hello? Fallen Hunter?
Be safe.
Ever since the apothecary, we've seen more and more of these echoes.
What do you think is waking them? The mother crystals collapsed?
I have an idea. You're not going to like it.
Why do I have a feeling that those... I knew it. I knew that it was like that. It kind of looked like the rock structure, but at the same time it had that distinct, I guess, pattern. Oh wait, there's men there.
Be safe.
Alright, so we have a black shield.
More of my mother's men.
think I kind of overdid it.
Ready, go? Fly, Ambrosia.
Okay, we've got more men.
Straight home now.
Oh, what's this? Nice.
You deserve a rest.
I'd already downed them before she even got her ice attack out.
Faster!
Blood, Clive.
And still wet.
You were told to stay in your homes.
The Black Shields.
You know who we are. And still, you would bear your steel. Why then, we owe you our thanks. You have saved us the trouble of an interrogation. To dwell in darkness, that we may purge the night and welcome lasting dawn. On these, our swords we swear.
Say that again. I'll show you the true shield of Rosaria.
Yeah.
Tell me what I want and the end will be swift. Who are you looking for?
Why, you. We come bearing a message. Your friends have been found. The branded you freed from our camps. They await you in Ordeal. Guardians of the Flame.
Those are Old Hill's gates.
Then we hurry. Find something, boy. Death.
Found her.
This was my mother's doing.
But why? Why would anyone?
I don't know. I never truly understood her. But this...
Oh, Clive.
I will learn what madness drives her, and I will end it. We should go.
Yes.
We can't leave them here like this.
We won't. But if the Black Shields have made it this far south, they may already be in Port Isolde.
We're approaching Buick Bridge. Though I doubt the Empire would let us cross over to Rosalith. Come on. That'll do, girl.
I did, Mummy. I could hear him shouting from down the road.
In honor of the 250th anniversary of the founding of the Grand Duchy of Rosaria.
No, you didn't hear nothing.
Interesting.
They tell us there's a curfew, but then refuse us passage back to work.
Passage to the provincial capital is restricted to Imperial Army personnel.
The gates are closed. Begone!
Well, aren't they rude?
Rosarian.
But this is their home.
I'm hungry.
You find no succor to the south, travellers. nor beyond the Buet. The Empire has seen fit to banish us from our own land.
Oof. Excuse me.
The Lazarus. What happened to this place?
My mother happened. The nobles who lived here didn't stand a chance. Let's hope my uncle fared better. That's the main gate. And it looks like we're not the only ones hoping to get in.
Oh no, his mama's not, Benedicta. It was basically his mother was the one that betrayed them at the very beginning.
Let us pass! My children are starving!
Have mercy.
Voice-rinsed dogs they are! You can't ignore us forever!
Let us in, or we'll die on your doorstep!
Better out there than in here!
Oh, get enough
Fuck off! And the generous bastards! Those crystals belong to us all! I said, away with you, filth! Back to your stalls! Cut you down where you stand! Just try it!
No chance of slipping through unnoticed. We'll need to find another way in. I thought we might be able to reason with the guards. Or at least bribe them.
I suspect everyone in that crowd thought the same. Was that the only way in?
Officially, yes. Strictly speaking, no. My uncle once told me that the nobles had tunnels built, so that they could visit town without having to walk amongst the rabble. The Lazarus. We'll find our way into the city there.
So I'm gonna have to go through a maze.
If you're sure. The entire place looked abandoned. Do you think it's safe?
As long as it is abandoned.
Black light burns.
The good news is we haven't seen a single black shield since Old Hill.
Maybe they found who they were looking for.
Eh. The door.
This is nothing like I remember it.
The door closed
Quickly a
on.
crown can lose its luster.
And Jill is still outside. Okay. Oh, look, now she's like totally in.
Not abandoned then.
Oi! Visitors!
Apologies. We'll show ourselves out. Or not.
I kind of overkilled it.
I've only ever seen one man fight like that. And he's long dead.
Then perhaps it's time you joined him.
The blessing of the Phoenix. It can't be. I was there when you died. Forgive me, my lord. I knew not whom I addressed. You have naught to fear from us. Founder, it really is you.
It is. So wait.
We can speak inside.
And those who wouldn't bend the knee?
We left before the Empire could make examples of us, though we didn't go far. And we banded together to form the Guardians of the Flame soon after. Alas, there is only so much a handful of aging shields can do against the might of an empire. But we've seen to it that their stay has been anything but pleasant. Of late, though, we've had our hands full just trying to keep the Duchy's few remaining bearers out of the Imperial's clutches.
The Cullings. We saw what happened in Old Hill.
Aye. The foul work of the Black Shields and their mistress.
You mean my mother? But it doesn't make sense. Even knowing what I know about her. Her hatred for bearers was no secret, but she wouldn't have been ignorant of their value to the realm.
No offense, my lord, but in case you haven't noticed, the Lady Annabella couldn't care less about the realm. She barely even cares for her own home. That much has been plain since the slaughter at Eastpool. And, since granting the Holy Emperor a new heir, her obsession with bearers only seems to have grown. As to why, I don't know. Maybe she can't bear the thought of anyone having the power to challenge her beloved son.
Her son.
Sir Wade, the Black Shields have broken camp. They march in full force for Buick Bridge.
Then so do we. Make ready. This is their main host. If we remove the head, perhaps we can prevent what happened at the docks from happening somewhere else. If I do nothing, then the blood of their next victims will be on my hands.
Yours and ours. We too have witnessed the crimes these men who dare call themselves shields have committed in my mother's name. It cannot be allowed to continue. We must put a stop to this madness.
We must. So let us go with you. For the good of Rosaria.
I was hoping you'd say that. Very well. If that is your wish, I would be honored to serve at your side.
And we at yours.
So, Wade, let us do our duty.
With pleasure, my lord.
I imagine this endeavor will require more than just our wits.
Alright, gonna save there. Gonna take a quick break.
Sir Wade has a good quartermaster.
And go and use the restroom and grab me some more water. So, BRB really quick. Yeah, I can totally hear the elevator music there.
You're telling me that's the Archduke's son?
Allow me to tend to your needs, my lord. May the blessing of the crystals
Oh,
go
wait,
with you.
I could sell.
May it serve the cause well. Our thanks, my lord. I'm sure that it will prove useful. I will be here should you need aught else.
Tell us then, Sir Wade. What is your plan?
Nothing fancy. You, Lady Jill and I make for Buett Bridge and provoke the main host at their encampment. Sensing an opportunity to end the Guardians, the Black Shields will call for reinforcements, who will be met from the rear by parties of my brothers hidden throughout the surrounding hills. This will allow us to wage battle on the bridge without fear of being overwhelmed. While the Black Shields have an advantage in numbers, you see, they prefer to fight in small units, which we can use to our advantage.
How small exactly?
Small enough, now that I have you and Lady Jill for company. I doubt I could have done this on my own.
But until we arrived, that was your plan. You haven't changed a bit.
So Wade, the bearers from Old Hill have been laid to rest.
Very good. Now make ready for battle.
As you command.
Thank you, Sir Wade. Perhaps now they will find peace.
There is but one thing which will grant them peace. Putting an end to the Black Shields.
And so we shall.
Party members. Throughout the main scenario, Clive will often be joined by various companions who are keen to lend their assistance. However, depending on Clive's destination, they may choose to remain behind at the hideaway. Okay.
We'll keep them from...
May the blessing of the Phoenix go with you.
How long have you been pursuing the Black Shields?
Since they burned their first village. We tracked down the bastards responsible and fed their corpses to Stillwind. Suffice to say, that got their attention. It's been a game of cat and mouse ever since.
Yeah! Look at me sideways. How was the Black Shields?
Come along now.
Bastards are looking.
There they are. On your command, my lord.
What is it now? I told you!
We bear a message for the Vicereine. From the Guardians of the Flame.
Ha! You presume to tell us that a pair of filthy vagabonds, a woman and a dog, could guard aught against the might of the Black Shields?
Are you sure?
Then come! Die along with your flame!
Alright.
Forest area! Forest area! Your petty revolution ends here. And these are swords, we swear.
Bloody hell! Reinforcements from the far bank!
Another one to fight their battle for them.
The Imperials aren't taking any chances. I can't say I'm flattered.
Too slow.
Oh.
A noble stand, albeit a misguided one. In taking it, you have but proven
fellow
our
Dragoon.
point that this land is in dire need of cleansing.
Stand fast.
That's better.
So wait.
There's no one left to keep them occupied. We need to finish this.
We finish him. It's over.
Nice.
I don't see any more.
And
Nor do I.
Why is it always a dragoon that I'm fighting there?
It bloody worked. We sent every last one of the rotten bastards straight to the mud. My, Lord, perhaps this will be enough to stop the Cullings. For the time being, at least.
Perhaps. Though I doubt my mother will take this loss well. She'll move swiftly to see her minions' ranks replenished.
And then it will all begin again. I often wonder if the nation we once knew is gone for good. Her fields rot. Her people starve. We battled to preserve the flame that was, but for every foe we fell, another springs up in its place. Yet be that as it may, it is still our home, and we must fight for it, as we always have, and always will. For as long as the Firebird's flame burns in our hearts, the Duchy cannot die. And her loyal subjects may dream of a day when the Rosarian standard flies over Rosalith once more.
So wait,
he doesn't know that Clive is the second dominant of fire.
Strategy, my lord.